Let's check in on federal politics now. As it happens, we're going to catch up with Tim Wilson, a federal Liberal MP for the seat of Goldstein Goldstein, isn't it, Tim, in Victoria? So good to talk.
It is Goldstein.
Yeah. Tim, just on that firstly, is Jeff Kennett right? Is this just a soul-crushing move from Daniel Andrews to extend these emergency powers another year?
Well, I do think many Victorians will be losing hope, sadly. And I think he's right in saying that we need to be inspiring people. This has been a very difficult time for Victorians. They need confidence and they need to keep going. And that's what a good leader should be doing. But I think the bigger issue, frankly, is where is the evidence that this is justified and this will work? If you want to extend a state of disaster or a state of emergency, then you need to provide, I think, particularly for 12 months, compelling evidence publicly. You can't just issue dictates out to the community. You have to provide compelling evidence about not just why you're doing it, but why it's necessary to achieve a public policy and the health outcome. And I have not seen that yet.
I think you're spot on. Let's get to federal issues now. And Parliament sat today. Scott Morrison, the Prime Minister, accepted some responsibility for what's happened in aged care homes. Here's what he had to say by way of an apology.
I offer my apologies to the residents and families of those affected in those facilities. It was not good enough. Investigations and reviews are underway, as is appropriate, including by the Royal Commission into Aged Care that I established.
Tim Wilson, there was plenty of warning. We obviously haven't done enough at a federal, state or private level to get as much safety, protection, responses into our aged care facilities as we should.
Well, we're in a situation where, of course, because of the community transmission, we absolutely have had outbreaks in 10% of aged care homes in Victoria, 3% nationwide, but they're not acceptable either. In the end, aged care homes are used to dealing with outbreaks of various viral conditions, but because of the nature of this virus, it's made it extremely difficult. There was a plan, and the government enacted its plan, and particularly supporting guidelines into the sector. But tragically, because of the community transmission, it's made its way into aged care homes.
Now, there was a big impact in Parliament today from the pandemic, the first virtual attendees of our Parliament, so that not everyone had to be in the actual building. Let's have a look here. Here's a question fired in from Labor's Deputy Leader, Richard Marles.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and my question is to the Prime Minister. The Health Department says 328 aged care residents have died from COVID-19. How many more aged care residents have to die before the Prime Minister accepts full responsibility for keeping them safe?
Well, we've seen the Prime Minister's comments on that, but on this virtual Parliament, we can get rid of Comcars and business class travel and everything for MPs. We could do this more often, couldn't we? I mean, seriously, is there a potential for this sort of communication to be used more often in politics?
No, I don't think so. I'm quite opposed to making this the norm. Obviously, there are sometimes exceptional circumstances where it can be justified, but Parliament isn't just about getting something on the record. It's a meeting of people to achieve public policy objectives. We have to have discussion, we have to have debate, we have to have committee work, and not all of that is necessarily in the public view, and it's critical to be able to keep doing that. The other reason is because I don't believe we should be able to have virtual voting. I think voting must take place because when we're creating the laws of the land, there has to be absolute transparency and confidence in the process.
And where's the equity? You spent 2 weeks in isolation in Canberra to turn up at Parliament today. Richard Marles just dials in from his office. That's not fair. Now, let's get on to branch stacking. You and others, myself included, had to go at the branch stacking revelations in the Victorian Labor Party earlier this year. I said at the time, though, I think a lot of the criticism was overdone because everybody on every political party has to get out there and recruit people. It's just a matter of where you draw the line. Are you worried at what's gone on here, that the right wing of your own party has been fiendishly using taxpayers' resources to sign up people and to try and do in people like yourself?
Well, that's the allegation that's been put forward. And of course, I oppose branch stacking, period. I oppose it in the Labor Party. I oppose it in the Liberal Party as well. And my principal concern is, I mean, yes, I actively encourage people to join the Liberal Party. If you share our values, you believe in the cause, go to join.vic.liberal.org.au and sign up. That's what I believe in. The problem I have is that there are people who have joined who, of course, don't share our values or aren't interested in helping the party and the cause. And that's where branch stacking comes in. So the allegation is serious and very serious, and it's being investigated, and rightly should be investigated.
How do you get on with Michael Sukkar, and do you think that his position is in jeopardy over this?
Well, I have a professional relationship with all my colleagues, and of course people are innocent until proven guilty, and processes have been put in place by himself and Kevin Andrews around reviewing the conduct in their office. I'll let that go on before making comment.
Just very briefly, we don't have much time, but my colleague Sharri Markson again has broken an exclusive story about Chinese influence in this country. Scientists in our university signing up with deals so that China might get access to their research. Do you have grave concerns about this?
I do, because the tentacles of the CCP seem to find no institution they don't want to wrap themselves around in, and clearly it's to feed the interests of the CCP over countries like ourselves. I think this needs a proper investigation inquiry, because I think the conduct is deeply disturbing. We know there's obviously engagement in industrial espionage and surveillance, and this just seems to be yet another part of that artifice.
Tim Wilson, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Tim Wilson, the federal Liberal member for the seat of Goldstein in Victoria, on a